Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Hi.
wow.
Yeah, we're live. Hello, everybody. This is Kim McMahon. I'm the head of advocacy and community at the FreeBSD Foundation. And on this day, FreeBSD Day, the actual day for FreeBSD, we're doing a bunch of live streams with community members. And I'm gonna call her my friend. Tara is my friend, and she has agreed to join our live stream today. So, Tara, if you want to do a short introduction about who you are and what you want the community to know about you.
All right. So first of all, I'm honored to be here today and representing the FreeBSD community. I'm actually into open source for into the last 3 decades, so I'm not new to open source, but I was on, ashamedly, I was on Linux before. So I started with Linux in 1995, which was, wow, a long ago. And I actually developed, I worked for big companies like Sun, IBM, and all the big ones, always on large enterprise projects. So today I'm still a distinguished architect on on-prem solutions, and I'm doing private cloud mostly. But in the recent, a friend of mine introduced me to FreeBSD, and I really like the neatness and stability when it comes to real life scenarios. And Linux recently became too much,
Mm,
especially when it comes to too much complicated.
yeah.
Um, Not that I cannot follow it, I still can read the code and still can work on it, but as a personal preference, I prefer it to be simple. And I call it the KISS rule, keep it simple and stupid. Uh, I think you already we already talked about this last time.
Yeah,
Um,
but I don't think that we can say that enough because that's one of the things we really talked about was just the simplicity of the code and how easy you had found it to work with. And
yes,
that's why you kind of gravitated to FreeBSD.
I guess some of the audience out there will agree with me that sometimes we use too much overcomplicated and over engineering solution for something that could be simple. You know,
Hmm.
and if it's simple, it is simpler to debug and to find where the problem stands. For example, it does, and I'm talking about kind of open source competition here. If you're adopting Kubernetes, it does make sense, but it does make sense for certain scenarios. And troubleshooting it is not as easy. It requires some kind of challenging skills, which I do have, but if I can simplify the life, why not, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. And I know we have a couple topics we're going to get into, but I don't ever look at it as a competition. Like, it's not Linux.
Yeah,
We're not competing with Linux. There's use cases for FreeBSD and there's use cases for Linux. And really my whole role is to talk with people like you and share with the community how people are using FreeBSD and make people aware of this option. And choose it if it makes sense. But yeah.
yeah, indeed. And for example, it's good. I mean, the community, some part of a community feels like competition, but what you
Yeah.
said, that it does make sense. I mean, use your head and choose what is best for your project.
Yep.
And
Yep.
sometimes simplicity and um, like stability is key to a project. Large enterprise customers, which are my customers, are more interested in stability than the latest technology.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So as we were kind of doing our pre-live stream talk, I loved that the first thing you mentioned was that you want to celebrate the community. So you
Yeah,
have a community group that you're part of.
yeah, and I'm really proud. My community is BSD Cafe. It's a small community that started in
And
Italy.
did you say BSD Cafe?
Right.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Okay. Um, it
And
started
you
from
started it. Sorry to cut you off. I
no,
just want to make sure I heard it right. BSD Cafe, you started it.
no, I didn't start it.
Oh, you're part
Oh, I'm part of it.
of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Stefano and Florian started it. And they
Okay.
are amazing people. like because they started it with the heart in mind, just with this real sense of pure community, which is something that is lost in the Linux community. And it's the community that makes the difference when it comes to open source. A really welcome community that really encourages you to foster your passion, whatever your passion is, and whether it's a small firewall or a large deployment. And that's the spirit of the community. And that's, I believe, coming with the open source in mind and my background, I believe that today in the FreeBSD Day is important to celebrate the FreeBSD community in general, whether it's just BSD Cafe or all the communities that are out there, then in their little space or in the big space, they are doing their contribution to the FreeBSD. Because as we talked about before, contribution is not just about the code. It could be anything. This is contribution. Advocating is contribution. I believe it's important to celebrate those people. I'm just facing them. I'm just the front woman here, but yeah, they are the art of FreeBSD.
Absolutely. And that, and that's some things that the marketing and advocacy team at the foundation, that's what we're trying to do, is celebrate people. And so Drew and I do interviews with users like you and Jason and Anne. They produce the case studies telling stories of more corporate use. But yeah, it's really celebrating the community and thanking them for, how they're using the operating system. Yeah. So
using and contributing, because, for example, when we are talking about my word, which is the enterprise word, Doug, which is the one who ported Podman to FreeBSD, did an amazing job. I had the honor to have a small chat with him, and he's a great guy. And maybe OCI container for main FreeBSD, I have jails and BSD Podman, but when it comes to speaking to enterprise customers, it makes the difference. So this is one of an amazing job that has been done in the community.
Yeah, so thank you. That's a good segue into the other topic that you and I touched on briefly before we started, and it's the importance of contributing. And I've been, you know this, you and I have talked about how I've been in open source and worked for foundations for a long time. And the importance of contributing, it's just not open source if you're not contributing back somehow. I mean, you should be using the technology, but then, we need the community to be contributing back. And in my view, contributing back can be in the form of, you can contribute code, documentation. Writing documentation is a huge contribution. As you just mentioned, marketing and advocacy, helping promote and get the word out about the technology. And then the last way to contribute back is, if you don't want to do code or you don't have the resources to do it, is donate back to the FreeBSD Foundation, for example, where we take those funds and we use those funds for people that can, we hire people to be writing code for the project, for example. So there's basically 4 ways to contribute back. And you and I, we're just beating that drum on the importance of, if you're using the technology, you really need to give back somehow.
Yeah, and it's actually a good point. So as I've been 3 decades in the Linux community and working for large known vendor in the Linux industry, what I really felt ashamed, and betrayed in somehow, that many people from the Linux community, and especially companies, they're taking Linux because it's free, and not because of adopting open source. The thing is that I believe it's more like, my personal belief is that you need to contribute back. If you're getting something, you need to get something back. There's nothing wrong for people to use something for free, but in their own terms. Like,
right.
For example, $5, which is nothing, donated to the FreeBSD Foundation, or code. Do whatever you can. Install FreeBSD to a friend of yours.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've ever heard the terms free as in beer or free as in a puppy. And you'll see kind of those memes going around in the open source community. And, you know, I'm going to go with free as in a puppy, right? I mean, you can get a free puppy, but you have to nurture it. You have to feed it. You have to love it. You have to take care of it. And that's what open source is, right? And that you need to, again, just what we were talking about, give back some way. So,
And I truly hope that in this specific moment where open source is and FreeBSD is important and could become important, that companies use it in a way they give back. Could be, just like you said, just a documentation, a
yeah,
blog post.
yeah.
Okay.
I would love blog posts. Let me just stop you there. Anybody have a blog post about FreeBSD? You wrote one? Let me know. Send it to info@freebsdfoundation.org. We will promote it. Or if you want to write one for us, let me know. Okay, next. There's my pitch.
No, but it's great. It's great because there are some valuable people again, just because I know them. Okay, my community and Stefano and Florian always write important articles about FreeBSD and small tricks, and that can be handy when it comes to real life scenarios because they're doing in their space what they can to promote it in companies as well as private users.
Yeah. 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 So we'll move away from Kim being selfish and talking about, advocacy and marketing materials and donations. And it's really a lot of it is the code. So so the FreeBSD Foundation does fund some projects, but I know that there's a lot of developers out there who are using FreeBSD and contributing code back. And I think you're one of those, aren't you?
I wouldn't say that much. I mean, small patches here and there,
I
but
I don't think anything's small when you're contributing back to a project. That's my view. So
I
thank you
mean,
for contributing patches.
I'm actually really new to the FreeBSD community, so compared to what I've been in the
Yeah.
other community, so my story here is different, and I'm actually I'm older, so my way of contributing back to FreeBSD is different than it was when I was young and in the
Yeah.
other community. But yeah, I will always be. I mean, reading the code is the most amazing thing that you can do. Can I just borrow you a couple of minutes to
Yeah. Yeah, go.
I want to tell you about this anecdote of when I was working for Sun Microsystems. We had this problem with we just deployed the 3G by the time, so we were talking about many years ago, and I had a problem with TCP/IP, okay, in this large new telco operator, and I didn't know how to understand it and how to fix it. And somebody pointed out to the source code of Solaris back then. And then my mind changed totally. Like my world went upside down. I finally understand what's going on. So reading the FreeBSD code is
Mhm.
really important. It's not just contributing and writing code, but reading it, understanding how it works underneath. It's really
Mm.
important.
The previous live stream with Mitchell, Mitchell also mentioned reading the code. So, but he also mentioned a couple other resources. Like, so for your recommendation for a new user is just go out to the project site, freebsd.org, and read the code, right? Do you have any other recommendations for somebody new getting started with FreeBSD?
So it depends on what you mean by somebody new, because if you read the code, you need to have experience to do that, honestly. I mean, you can start small. For example, there are nice FreeBSD forks like GhostBSD that can be, or Nomad BSD that can be very important for somebody new in the FreeBSD space that really want to start from zero. If you're coming like I was from Linux, then it's handier to try, install, and whatever you want to do from, like trying, destroy is the way to learn something. but
Mhm.
you have some roots, and then the code is important.
Yeah.
And one
Okay.
of the things that I really appreciate that much is that FreeBSD has an amazing man pages
That's
compared
amazing. What pages?
man pages.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
not just the online documentation, but if it happens to be offline, which I do sometimes, then you have an amazing documentation just with man, whatever you need to do.
Okay. Great. Great. So read the code, go to the man pages.
Man pages,
Um,
and honestly, the online documentation is amazing. Like you can find a lot of things.
yeah. Excellent. So what are you looking forward to with FreeBSD? Is there any specific projects that you're interested in that we're working on?
So I'm always working on in the private cloud space, so
Okay.
virtualization and containerization.
Mm,
And so I'm looking forward to do something in that space with FreeBSD when it comes to companies, so real life deployments. So I want to work on that space. I'm trying to do my first steps around, and I want to thrive with FreeBSD and see where we are going there.
excellent. Excellent. Well, anything else that you want to share with our audience on this FreeBSD day before we end our live stream?
Okay, I just want to encourage to um, try it if you haven't, because even if you're staying with your current operating system, it's good to learn something new and to try and experience something different. So try, get there, have fun as we are doing. Under my desk, there are 4 desktop and 2 ARMS servers. So like,
Oh my gosh. Is it hot in there with all those computers
yeah.
going?
And at the moment, so I haven't shared this before, but I live between London in the UK and Milan in Italy. And in Milan, there are 32 degrees, so it's or even more hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Boy, that's a heat wave. And they have all those computers running.
exactly. Luckily enough, like, I really appreciate the effort. For example, I know you were talking about RISC-V before.
Mhm.
So I'm really looking forward to see more development in the ARM space and
Yeah.
in the RISC-V space to have an alternative and a more energy efficient processors when it comes, and less heat when it comes to. So don't let me sweat.
Yeah, did you see on the first live stream Ed was on and he was talking about the work that we're doing with Framework for the Framework laptop?
I've heard about. I hadn't had the chance to see the previous stream, but I have heard about the framework
Yeah.
lab. Yeah,
He's
and
excited about that. So you should check that out. And you know how to get a hold of me if you have any questions or you want to
oh
get
yeah,
in that.
I
So
hear that, Mer.
yeah, I mean, especially if you have that many machines under your desk, maybe there's an interest in the Framework project on that lab.
Yeah, indeed,
Yeah,
indeed.
yeah. Well,
But
thank you so much.
thank you
I
very
always
much.
enjoy talking with you. As I mentioned, you make me happy when I talk with you. I love our conversations, and thank you for joining us on FreeBSD Day.
Thank you very much. I feel honored, and thank you very much for seeing this video.
Yeah. Okay. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
See you at
Bye.
the next one.
Yeah. Bye.